1, 2, 3, 4. B is the next lesson in the sequence of video lessons about sequences. In this lesson, we'll focus on arithmetic and geometric sequences. Arithmetic sequences. Say it with me. Arithmetic sequences. It's not pronounced arithmetic. But what is an arithmetic sequence? Let me tell you. It is a list of numbers in which all of the terms have a common difference. We usually call that common difference D. Now, the nth term of an arithmetic sequence is defined by this. A sub n is equal to the first term, which is A. We just use A for the first term. And we add the common difference, however many common differences there are between those two terms. So if it's the 10th term, we'll plug in 10 for n, and we'll add that many differences to the first term. Okay, so that's the general formula for an arithmetic sequence. Now, there are really two main ways to identify arithmetic sequences. One is just by looking at the formula, and if there's addition or subtraction going on, that's hinting that it's an arithmetic sequence. And then the other one is just looking at the terms, noticing that we're adding or subtracting a number. And that's all you need to know for arithmetic sequences. Let's do an example. Find the common difference, the 10th term, a recursive rule, and an explicit rule for this sequence here. So this list of 4 numbers. Let's do these things in order. Just by looking at the terms, I can tell that the common difference is 4. We're going from 6 to 10, 10 to 14, and so on. So that is the common difference. Now to find the 10th term, why don't I just keep going with this list? You know, the next term would be 22. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th term. Then we have 26. And we write a list with commas, by the way. We're gonna learn in a future topic that will work with series where we add the numbers. So 34 is the 7th term. 30 is the 7th term, and 34 is the 8th term. All right, got to keep going. 38 and 42. So we have found the 10th term, which is 42, the answer to the universe. Now, to find a recursive rule, we need to use just the previous term. And so I could say that the nth term, so this is recursive, the nth term, a sub n, is equal to the previous term plus 4. And that's all there is to it. We're just writing what we mean using math. Finally, let's do the explicit rule. This is the one where we could just plug in the term that we want to find out what it is. So the explicit rule is the one from above. And therefore, a sub n is equal to a, our first term, which is 6, plus d, which is 4 in this case, times n minus 1. Therefore, if we want to check our work for the 10th term, we could just use this formula. So let's do that, and we could say a sub 10 is equal to 6 plus 4 times 10 minus 1. Now 10 minus 1 is 9, times 4 is 36, so 6 plus 36 equals 42. Hey, our rule is correct. Excellent. Let's talk about geometric sequences now. So far, we've learned to categorize sequences in 2 major ways: infinite versus finite, and arithmetic versus geometric. So this is the last one we'll talk about, and the one that leads to some really interesting calculus ideas. So what is a definition of a geometric sequence? Well, it's just a list of numbers, a sequence, in which the terms have a common ratio, and we call that R. The official formula for a geometric series goes something like this. A sub n is equal to a, which is the first term, times r to the n minus 1. So a is the first term. So what I want you to notice is that this formula is quite different than the formula for arithmetic, in which we have something that's being raised to a power. So that's how we could identify a geometric sequence, is that there's multiplication or division going on. And we could see that multiplication and division from term to term, and the way that shows up in the formula is in the form of a power. Okay, that's all the info about the sequence. Now let's do an example. What we'll do here is find the common ratio, the eighth term, a recursive rule, and an explicit rule for this sequence here. You know, many times I like to just write out more terms when I'm given a sequence, so you can always do that. But it's especially important that you write down this sequence on your paper right now. So let's talk about the common ratio. So common ratio is, in this case, -2. So how do we get from 1 to -2? Well, we could subtract 3, but notice how we get from -2 to 4. That's not subtracting 3, that's multiplying or adding 6, you know. So, but we're doing this in a multiplication sort of way. So if we can't use one number in addition or subtraction to get from term to term, then we should think about multiplication. All right, now let's find the eighth term. And so I'll continue this stuff over here. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the sixth term is -32. The seventh term is +64. And then multiply by -2 again is 128 is the eighth term. So we found the eighth term. The recursive rule, now notice up above you don't have a recursive rule, that's an explicit rule. And I didn't tell you that, but it is. So the recursive rule in this case is just saying, hey, what do we do after we wake up? Brush our teeth, eat food. What do we do next after that? All right, so we're going to take, we're going to say that the nth term is equal to -2 times the n-1th term times the previous term. So all that's saying right there is take the previous term, a sub n minus 1, multiply it by -2, and that'll give you your next term. We could also say a sub n plus 1 is equal to -2 times a sub n. All right, the explicit rule is this. A sub n is equal to the first term, which is 1, times -2 to the n minus 1. All right, be careful to put parentheses around the r, because you don't officially multiply 1 by -2 first. So for example, if 1 was actually 5, this doesn't become a -10. We have to raise this to the power first because of the order of operations, and then multiply by that number there. So let's check our eighth term, a sub 8. That's equal to 1 times -2 to the 8 minus 1, which is equal to -2 to the 7. All right, so I'll talk you through how I think about this number being raised to the 7th power. Well, that's 4 times 4 times 4, so that's 6 powers, times -2. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64 times -2. And that's -128. Hey, excellent. Graphing sequences is kind of cool because we get to use the very last mode on your calculator. So pause this video if you need to get your calculator, come back and go to sequence mode. So on your calculator, press mode and arrow down to where it says function parametric polar sequence. There's another SEQ for calculators that are not the CE version. It says SEQ and simul. That's not the one. All right, so first thing is change the mode to sequence. All right, next up, we're going to press Y equals, and you'll get a screen that looks very different than your normal function mode version. You should have something where you see U of n, and that's like the notation for our sequence function, basically. All right, so just a little description here. Above that, it says n min, and it says n min equals, and if yours says 1, that's great. that's usually what we want. We usually start from the first term. That's the minimum of n. Usually we don't do 0 unless we're in calculus or something. Then what you'll do for u sub n, where you see that, it says u sub n or u of n equals, that's where you'll enter your explicit formula. So this is the mode where we use the explicit formula. The recursive doesn't work in here. Okay, so you could enter, what you could do right now, you could use our previous formula. So that's this one up here, 1 times negative 2 to the n minus 1. All right, so I'll talk you through that. Just type in 1, open parentheses, negative 2, not minus 2, close parentheses, then raise that to a power, and the n button is where the usual variable button is. Notice it says xt, theta, and n. Aha, we get to use the last one. How exciting. Make sure that power is n minus 1. Okay, and then the next piece is enter a sub 1 as u of n min. Now, you might not have something that says u of n min. You might just have something that says u of 1 and u of 2. Okay, so what you want to do there is enter those actual values. For u of 1, it's 1, and u of 2 is negative 2. Okay, and that's just based on our example. Then what we'll do from there is you'll change your window and then graph. So we've basically worked through most we need to here. You could rewind if you got stuck. But now before you hit graph though, it's best to hit zoom 6. So you have just a real basic window there. And you should get a graph, you know, whatever color it's in if you have a color calculator. You should see a graph that has like a positive value and then a negative value that's further down, and then a positive value, and then a negative value. So you should have something like that. Now, let's change your window a little bit because we don't really care about stuff that's negative, and you'll see that you have n min, n max, and stuff like that. So let's make our x min 0 and x max 10, but then let's make your y min of, oh, I don't know, negative 300, and y max 300. Then hit graph, and then you'll see that the points, the first 4 points, first 5 terms basically, look really close to the x-axis, and it kind of looks like there's a curve at the top part and a curve at the bottom part. Okay, and that's how you graph a sequence, which is just basically discrete points on a graph. It's not a curve. You don't connect the lines because they're separate, which is the definition of discrete mathematically. Okay, great. It's coming together. Now, if you'd like, you could try this one. A sub n equals n squared minus 1, and the first term is 0. And you could enter the second term, what that is, if your calculator needs it. Okay, and in your exercises, 7 and 8 correspond to this idea here. So you could use what you know with those questions. And that's a wrap. The last topic will focus on adding up all of the terms of a sequence. Thanks for watching.